it doesn't get bigger than what's about to happen in Knoxville. Alabama coming to town. Neyland Stadium is going to be hopping like it hasn't been in maybe 10 years or so or longer. There's also going to be a ton of talent on campus. Let's start with the big name official visitor, Samuel Impemba, 5-star edge out of IMG. We talk about him a lot on this show, and most of it is in terms of UGA. But today, this weekend, Tennessee is going to get him on campus. What do they have to do to make up ground on Georgia?
They have to make up pretty significant ground on Georgia. I mean, he is going back to Georgia next weekend for his official visit to Athens. So this is really Tennessee's, I think, final shot to kind of make that impact, maybe make him hold off longer on a decision, really make him think harder about the Tennessee Volunteers. They have to really they're going to have his family on campus too, which is very important to him. And I think they obviously are trailing, Georgia at this point. So really rolling out the red carpet, showing him a great game day environment, getting in to show him how he can fit into that defensive scheme if he went there. Really get into just getting to know him and showing him why he should pick Tennessee. But I think it's a pretty significant, visit as far as Tennessee having to make up a lot of ground this weekend.
One of the more intriguing unofficial visitor names is something that you brought to the forefront just a couple days ago. 4-star wide receiver and Ohio State commit Tate could potentially be taking an unofficial visit to Tennessee this weekend. He's been rock solid to Ohio State. First of all, do you think he ends up showing up in Knoxville? And if he does, what does it mean for Tennessee?
Man, Josh, you never know anymore in recruiting. Just, you hear one thing 1 minute, something else changes 5 minutes later. I think at the time that we record this show, I expect him to be in Tennessee this weekend. Now, until a kid like that shows, you never really know. Ohio State obviously is doing all they can to keep him at home, not in Knoxville. Obviously, at one time, Tennessee had the lead and had the momentum for Tate. Ohio State swung that back their way late before he made that decision. So Tennessee's never gone away. It got quiet a little bit for a short amount of time. But one thing I can say for certain is that Tate has had communication with Tennessee, from wide receivers coach Kendall Pope to Josh Heupel to Coach Golish, the OC. Communication's been there. And right now, he's expected in Knoxville. Let's see what happens come Saturday.
Yeah, and it will be significant if he shows up in Knoxville, because it's clear that the Ohio State staff is trying to prevent this from happening, which, in recruiting, this is kind of a normal thing for a committed team to do. Let's talk about another unofficial visitor that's kind of been popping up in Knoxville quite a bit. That's David Hobbs, a newly minted 5-star on 3, one of the best defensive linemen in America. He's going to be taking this game in as an unofficial. What does this tell you?
I think it says a lot, Josh. I mean, a couple weeks ago, he took trips to Ohio State and Michigan. Two schools kind of come in late or later than some others in this race. But last weekend, he thought about going to Alabama A&M. He thought about going to Georgia Auburn. He decided to stay home. This weekend, he's not staying home. He's going back on the road, back to the University of Tennessee, his second trip this fall to Knoxville. And I think, according to one source, he'll be watching his top 2 schools play this weekend, Tennessee and Alabama. I think both those schools are highly competitive in the race for Hobbs, the D lineman out of Concord, North Carolina. Again, he still has upcoming OVs to Alabama and Georgia as of now. Ohio State and Michigan are both trying to maybe get him to change his mind and take an OV to their schools. But Tennessee has done a great job recruiting him, recruiting his family. Remember, his sister is a 2024 elite basketball prospect as well. She likes UT basketball. They're a tight-knit family. They would love nothing more, the parents, to see both kids end up at the same school. So not only is Hobbs, David, looking at UT this weekend again, but the younger sister is as well. So keep that in mind also. So that's a very positive thing for the University of Tennessee.
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but what would a win for Tennessee do for their recruiting?
I mean, I think it would just solidify that Tennessee's back and just really just that what the job that Heupel's done, I think, surprises all of us this quickly. Not saying he couldn't coach, did a great job at UCF, but to beat Florida, Florida's not maybe elite this season, but to beat them and kind of break that run of Florida beating Tennessee, to step up and knock off Alabama, which is a huge game every year in October for the University of Tennessee. I say wins and losses don't always affect a kid's decision, at least one or two. But you're talking about Tennessee going 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, quickly moving up those rankings and showing every week they can compete with the best, that would help them win a battle or two. I promise you that come December.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you smash that subscribe button for me. And remember to check out all the videos on the On3 YouTube page.